that most people always say, I don't have time to create content.
Real talk.
I'm always busy, and I don't think I can get started. Who do you think should actually have a personal brand? And this is what they said. The people said they believe doctors,
Yeah.
lawyers, entrepreneurs. I can record on this. I can go on CapCut and edit the podcast.
Yeah.
I can go on Canva and then make a thumbnail. Welcome to another episode of the Creator Concept. This is where we speak about human potential and how you can awaken your creator ability in order to create a meaningful impact. So today we're going to be speaking about the fact that most people always say, I don't have time to create content.
Real talk.
I'm always busy, and I don't think I can get started. So we're going to speak about some of the frameworks that we use for our clients and for this podcast to make sure that we have enough content without spending so much time and so many days creating content. And with me, I'm not alone. I have the one and only Mawanda. What's up, bro?
What's good, man?
Yeah,
My
good.
First ever podcast. I mean, to be honest, it's my first time being in front of the camera.
In front of the camera.
Yeah, I'm always behind. I'm always the guy.
Okay, you're always behind. So
in the
Gwanda's part of
shadows.
our team.
Yeah.
He's the guru that makes sure that we look good when it comes to our content,
That's me.
And he chops it up, man. He chops it up. So yeah, that's what we're going to speak about today. The fact that people are always like, you know what, I don't have time to create content. What do you think are some of the beliefs that people have when it comes to that? Why do you think people are always like,
I think for starters, the camera, the whole, because that is the entirety of everything. You can't create content without a camera, or at least a good looking camera. A lot of people believe that you need to have the latest iPhone, the 16
Yeah.
Pro Max,
Yeah.
15 Pro Max, whatever. But it's not really essentially about that. We have people that are creating content with Samsungs, with these new Chinese brands, the Xiaomi. My mother just got a new camera, a new phone. Camera on that is amazing. You can create
What?
content with whatever you have. So I just think people really don't get the idea that you don't really need anything special.
That's good.
You also have to make the time to do it as well, because creating content, you got to be consistent if you actually want people to watch your stuff or follow you.
I like that. I think that's true. I think people have created a belief when it comes to, so it's the whole thing of you watch creators that have been doing it for years. You look at the gear they have and what they've accumulated, and you're like, shucks, I need to have the same type of gear. And two, I think it's also a belief. I think when people don't have clarity and they're not convicted enough in what they have to offer the world and the value that they have, then they rather make up subconscious excuses of,
Yeah.
I don't have time to create content. But you might find that after work, they have a young 2 hours to Netflix and chill.
Yeah, exactly.
You might
Like,
find that after, they have. So people really just do have time, but they don't prioritize the time. But I don't think it's just a time thing. Yes, on one level, it's definitely has to do with the ability. Maybe I don't know how to edit. You're looking at the fact that I need to learn that, where there's a lot of simple tools. But more than that, they are looking at the fact that maybe they're not fully convinced about who they are, and they're not fully convinced about the value they offer. And also people also think that the only people who create content are content creators or creatives, where it's not true. The creator economy is really growing into, there was a study that was actually done, a little bit of a segue, overseas, a huge shout out to Rory Vaden, where they interviewed a huge group of people to say, who do you think should actually have a personal brand? And this is what they said. The people said they believe doctors,
yeah.
lawyers, entrepreneurs. I think real estate agents are also on that.
Yeah.
And I think I'm missing one more. Why do you think that is? It's not even content creator. They didn't say any fancy content creator names.
no.
They just said industries. And the reason why that is because aren't those people who help you make the most important decisions of your life?
They are. They kind of, yeah.
I want to know who you are. I want to know, are you a family person? I want to know, what do you get up to? I want to know, how much knowledge do you have in the industry and what you do? So if it's a doctor, my mom just had surgery, I kind of wanted to know who the doctor is. I really did. How many surgeries have you done? Are you good at this? It's my mother, know? Same thing with lawyers. If you're in trouble or you're buying a property or etc., it's such an important thing. You want to know
Who
what's
have you
happening.
gotten out of trouble?
Real estate,
Yeah.
we're buying our first home, bro. I want the right person to do this deal. We've
How many
been
houses
working
have you
hard.
sold?
How,
All of
you
that.
know, I want to
Yeah.
know that. Do you actually care about my house, or do you care just about the commission? Or you just there to say, okay, buy out? And then entrepreneurs give different solutions, and some people can be scams.
True.
So people want you to, hey, Facebook market, I'm telling you. Bro.
Scam. Yo.
So people are interested in those things, and I think the whole belief of I don't have time, I really think that is hindering a lot of people from creating content. So I'm hoping that some of the frameworks that we're going to speak about now will start opening people's minds and releasing them from the idea of not having time and looking at, okay, how can we actually do this?
True.
And we're discussing something that we do at Creative Replay, which is our media agency for clients, which is different professionals, entrepreneurs, etc., who want to build their personal brand and want to have better opportunities
Best of the best.
out of life. But what do you think about the people I mentioned? Do you think those people are important to have personal brands?
I think they really are, especially when it comes to lawyers, doctors, even pilots. I want to know how many flights you have, because I can't just be trusting anyone fresh out of pilot school.
Hey.
Can't just be trusting anyone. I need to know how many flights you have. I need to know how many people you've operated on. I need to know how many houses you've sold. I need to know if you're good at what you do so I can trust you. I mean, yes, I'm going to be paying for quality, but at the end of the day, I'm doing it for a reason. I need to know if you're good at what you do.
That's good.
Yeah.
So what we're going to be discussing today is what we're doing, podcasting. And I really think that it's one of the best tools for people who are like, listen, bro, I only have a young 3 hours to get content for at least 2 to 3 weeks. So I really think podcasting is such a good one, because then the process of podcast is the fact that we plan the framework, like what we did. We looked at, okay, what are we going to be speaking about? The problem we want to solve is I don't have time to create content.
Yeah.
All right, what's the framework we're going to use? One of the frameworks is podcasting. Why? This podcast episode is probably going to be about 20 to 30 minutes.
True. I don't speak much, so.
Not true. So it'll be 20 to 30 minutes. And then obviously you can find the easiest path to helping you create a podcast. I always say the first one is, guys, cell phone. What I find is the easier it gets to do something, the lazier people are to do it.
True.
When I started creating content in 2008, we didn't have a lot of budget. The first camera we had, my friend, their family, they had a camcorder, and the camcorder had a cassette. Now, in order for us to edit that, we had to run it through the camcorder to digitally put it on the computer so that we can edit that. And our first editing program was Nero. It was so much harder for us to create content. But I think because we were just excited and we knew how hard the process would be, we're excited to figure it out. But what happens is it's almost like the more we spoon-fed and the easier it gets to create content, the more people almost are like, no, but I can't start. I don't have the thing.
Yeah.
But they have that one phone, this phone right now.
Yeah.
It's better than the camcorder, the computer that we had. The audio is better. Everything is better on this.
Because you can literally do everything.
I can record on this. I can go on CapCut and edit the podcast.
Yeah.
I can go on Canva and then make a thumbnail. I can then go upload it so long as I have Wi-Fi and all the different platforms.
What's this new website, Opus, to just clip it?
You get Opus clips, then you can clip it from there. So it's actually so much easier to just start with your phone, right? Then second thing is, if you feel like, okay, I've learned a little bit more, you can look at different equipment. You can buy an Osmo Pocket. I think that's very cool because it comes with a mic. It's literally a small camera. It's not intimidating. And then if you feel like, okay, I actually like this creator journey thing, you can now maybe get a Sony ZV-E10. You know?
Startup, yeah.
Nice startup camera. Very good.
Yeah.
Or a Canon, what's that new one? V50? 50.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, there's that. And then you can get yourself a computer. There's free editing platforms. There's DaVinci, there's CapCut, etc. So
Cut, all of that.
that's the first part, right? Then you obviously you plan out what problem are you going to be speaking about. You do an intro to the problem.
Yeah.
You speak about the solution or the body. You give backdrop, and then you speak about the solutions that you have. Literally, podcast done. 2 hours, you can get yourself
Finished.
2 to 3 podcasts. And how do we then use that and put it in our content ecosystem to make sure that you have content for the month? All right?
How do we?
So I think First part is what we do with our content. We identify key moments in the podcast.
True.
Right? We
Clips.
get reels.
Yeah.
Out of this one podcast, we know that we at least going to get 8 reels minimum.
Eight.
We
More or
chop
less.
it up. Yeah, more or less.
Yeah.
We can either go through it and listen to it ourselves on the editing platform, or you can run it through AI, and AI will tell you the most interesting platforms, whether that is ChatGPT, there's Cast Magic,
Yeah.
shucks, there's Opus Clips
Yeah.
that can clip it up for you. There's so many free platforms that you could use. So that's one. Now, from that one podcast episode, you have reels to post for the next week or 2 weeks,
True.
depending on whether you're uploading every day or every 2 days. So that's part one. Part two, what can we do with this? We can create posts. Carousels are still in.
What's carousels?
A carousel that's a good question actually. A carousel is, have you seen somebody on Instagram giving a tip where the first part of the post is they'll say, how to grow your personal brand in 1 year.
Yeah.
Then you swipe, they tell you step 1, do this. Swipe, step 2, do this.
Okay.
Swipe, so that's a carousel.
Okay,
It's
yeah.
almost like a guide or grouped form of information in the carousel. You can do posts. You can do quote reels where whatever was interesting that we said, you just put it as a quote. And that's a reel.
Yeah.
Already. So now we have reels. So now we have
Carousels.
and posts, etc. Now I can also take the transcript of that video, and what do we do with it? For free, guys. We can run it on AI and create an email newsletter.
Serious?
Yeah. So to all your clients, you can literally say, okay, hey, help me use this transcript to help me create a newsletter that will help entice our clients to click the link and go watch the full episode. So now I have a newsletter, but more than that, I can also make a drip of 2 to 3 emails to encourage them to go watch it. So we take the key points, we run it through AI. So we first have a newsletter, then from that we have another 2 to 3 emails that speak about the most valuable parts of this conversation that we're having.
Yeah.
Imagine for a person who doesn't know how to create content, how much value is this?
This is a
value.
lot. This is.
It's
You already
good.
explained an entire production of a podcast, behind the scenes and within the scenes, in 2 minutes?
That's value.
Yeah.
So for somebody who's reading that email, you're not just bombarding their inbox with just a whole lot of promotions and stuff that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But your authority, your reputation is growing. They are trusting you. They're going to believe in more of your solutions that you have to offer and how you can help them. So if they're going to need surgery, who's the first person they're going to think of?
You.
They're going to think of you.
Yeah.
Essentially, creating content is how can we add value to such a place where we almost have mental real estate to the people that we're speaking to, which is our audience, where when they think of something specific, they think of you first. You know?
Yeah.
If I think of women in South Africa and person who does well, I think of women agenda, you know, or I think of Umpumi, who has a dope community. If I think of
Zozi.
podcasting, I'll think of MacG. I'll think of the Conversation Capital. I'll think of this, you know.
Yeah.
So when there's certain topics, you want to be there at least in the top 3 or the top 5.
True.
Because you're adding value. So we spoke about that. If you're a professional, you're an entrepreneur, you're a coach, and you're looking for the best opportunities, you can now take that podcast, run it through AI. AI, guys. Guys, listen, AI is not taking over jobs. You just have to work with it. It must make you dumber.
Gotta work with it.
You just have to work with it.
Yeah.
What do? You run it through AI and you ask it to create a LinkedIn article from your podcast. Obviously, you have to edit it. You have to look at it, make sure that it's your tone of voice. But it's essentially taking the podcast that you had, creating an article about it, and you contributing on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
What does that do to your peers and to other people that are interested in your industry? They start looking at you as almost the go-to person.
Yeah,
and
for
they
sure.
trust you. That means all of this is a part of you creating your personal brand. It's also, as much as we're speaking about how to easily create content, we're also speaking about how to grow a personal brand.
Yeah.
Because if I put out a LinkedIn article of this episode, which I will, people will look at me and like, okay, our company needs a podcast, or I myself need a podcast. I'm going to speak to that guy.
Speak to Mawanda, yeah.
Yeah, that's Mawanda and Kwanda. I saw them having a conversation, then creative replay.
Kwanda's behind the camera,
Yep.
Mawanda's directing.
100%. That's
everything.
what we want to speak to them. They
Yeah.
know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's I've already mentioned one now. That's from one podcast. I think this is the 4th thing that we're speaking about.
Yeah. While you're looking, don't you think sometimes when it comes to creating content or even just starting or pressing the record button, doesn't it also fall back onto the people that support your concepts or your ideas? Because I feel like that's what kind of discourages people a lot. Is because especially us young people, especially gents, you'll just catch one random girl on a Friday night. Just had to record and one random girl on a Friday night on TikTok. I see indoor TV record and even I'm a podcast nan, and then it just discourages you to even start recording because you're like, now my image, or I've just been like discouraged to actually do what I want to do.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it really goes back to that. I think if you're going to go on this journey, you really have to make it a journey of self-discovery.
Yeah.
And you also, need to either speak to a version of you or speak to your niche audience of people that you can help the most.
Yeah.
I think the more you focus on that, the more you can block out the noise. Because the noise is the biggest distraction of this generation that we have right now. There's just too many things that are stimulating us. There's social media. You turn on the TV, there's something. You put your phone up, there's something. You're walking, there's something. There's just too many things. And one of the biggest enemies is actually distraction.
Yeah.
And that's why you start Monday saying you're going to do something. Come Friday, you haven't done it because we've just been distracted. You scroll on your phone, you end up scrolling for 2 hours.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it's such an important journey of self-discovery. And it's also a journey of conviction.
Yeah.
Conviction by seeing who you've helped before and knowing that I know that I can help this type of person. And you have to be very sold out in wanting to help that person. Even right now, if you don't have a business, etc., even if that person is the version of you, of the things that you've struggled with and you know that you've overcome them, then you just be convicted in saying, there's probably 10 other Kwandas out there. I know that if they find this, they'll find this valuable. Because I'm sure I'm not the only one who's been through this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it's about that. You have to just block out the noise, and you have to sit and double down in what you have.
Yeah, because the noise is a lot.
There's a lot of noise. There's a lot of noise. You know what we can also do about the podcast episodes that you recorded? We can do lives, and you can do your stories. You can go live. If we're speaking about a content ecosystem for the next week, I know that that's what we want to speak about. We want to be going live, and we want to be talking about the content ecosystem.
Invite people onto the live.
Inviting people onto the live. They can ask questions about it.
Sure.
And then it continues to grow one's authority if we continue to do that. And then more than that, you can now have intellectual property. What I mean by that is that you're now creating a library that of your thoughts, creating a library of your conversations that you've been having. And all of that intellectual property can write a book one day. You can take it as a documentary. You can make it an ebook. But there's so many unlimited things that I haven't even mentioned just by simply you coming on board, creating. And for 2 hours. That's all you need to do. Just get an hour for one episode. Just map out an hour. You can record a podcast episode, but you can have content for 2 weeks.
True.
And now the idea of we don't have time
just dissipates.
And now this is your framework, and this is the ecosystem that we use, and we know that we use for our clients, and we love it. So I like this conversation. What are your thoughts? I think it's a good.
I think for someone like, let me speak from my point of view now. For those that know, I have a brand of myself. I haven't really registered it though. I'm still in the works of doing that. It's called K Visuals. Just a free bit of advertising. But K Visuals. I've done a lot of work, but then upon me doing work, there's I think a lot now. So I think a lot about the brand. I think a lot about where I want to go with it, how big I want it to be. Right now, the main focus or the main goal is winning that MTV VMA.
That's dope.
So that's one of the biggest goals that I have, and just turning it into a brand that's not only going to be for the film industry, that's going to also accommodate art musicians, photographers, videographers, all of that, actors, whatever the case may be, but also getting glimpses of what happens behind the scenes of K Visuals. And I've done that before. It's just a matter of I have a really crazy subconscious. So I'll record something, or I'll be in front of the camera. I'll do a vlog. I'll have someone record the vlog for me while I'm shooting, and then I'll edit it and put it up. And like two hours later, my subconscious will be like, "Yeah, take it down." And as soon as my subconscious like that, I just subdue to it instantly. I don't even let myself think. I take it down immediately. I've cleared out my socials plenty of times. My Instagram has probably about 100 pictures, but you'll only see one if you go there right now. So it's just really a really bad subconscious that I can't keep something up for more than a day or two. So I think I'm trying to overcome that, because
that's good. And you're probably not the only one. I think there's probably other people in the audience who are struggling with the same thing. And I think just to add to that, it goes back to the whole focus on your next 500 posts.
Yeah.
And not your next 10 posts.
Okay.
If you focus on your next 10 posts, then you're going to want each post to be perfect. But if you focus on your next 500 posts, then you're playing the long game.
Yeah.
Then it doesn't matter how the first 100 are. The first 100 are just me getting warmed up. You understand?
Yeah.
Then the better I get and the more consistent I am, the easier it is to grow. So I'd say refocus your target. Move that target. Move that goalpost. Make it, okay, I am going to just push for 500 posts. Let's see what happens after that.
Yeah, for sure.
And do that for even the other areas of what you're creating. Make that goalpost longer.
Yeah.
So with that being said, the creator concept, to everybody who's joined us, we really hope you found value in this. We're really interested in what are some questions that you might have that might help you start creating better, or anything that you've heard from the podcast and you feel like, that sparked something. I'd like to know more about that. Just drop it in the comments, and we are looking forward to have you on the next episode. Okay?
Appreciate you, man. Thank you for having me.
Always.
Let's see what happens in the next episode.
Yeah, first 500. We're just pushing 500
500
episodes.
episodes.
500 episodes, then we'll see. We'll see. It's okay. Where's it
what's
going? Going on here?
Yeah, hopefully we'll be up there with Abo MacG.
Yeah. But also,
Eventually.
we're not competing, man. We're competing with ourselves.
Staying in our own lane, of course.
In our lane. We also probably we will have him on the podcast.
Okay, easy. That'll be good. That'll be fun.
Yeah,
MacG, you heard.
Yeah. Let's go.